All right, I hope my screen is also visible. Okay, so let's begin. Excuse me. Welcome everyone to the chat. I hope everyone is doing well and nice to see you after such a long time. Sorry to be away, uh, but we are here now, and so today I'm going to discuss, or we are going to discuss a couple of things, such as what's the trend momentum that looks like right now, what are the sectors that are leading and hopefully will lead, because once something is in momentum, then it becomes really difficult to stop that unless and until something drastic happens. And when that something drastic happens, then we'll get to know, right, in the price. I will also talk about something called, I call it a reverse VCP, and I'll tell you what that is, which it's basically exactly opposite to what a VCP is, and how reverse VCP is a potent indicator of distribution, and how, if that happens, one can already be satark, that a price breakdown might occur, and an ensuing stage 4 might follow. And I have been seeing this thing in a couple of stocks, so I'll discuss some past examples and some a lot of things which are happening right now, and some of the nuances associated with distribution and reverse VCP in the base. I will then also discuss a couple of my top highlight flags, which I will be watching. Might not take a position in them because I'm almost full, but a lot of good ones. I will also discuss as my PF and what I did right in the last 2 months or so, especially after the December 21 fall, and what I've learned. And this learning is something that I want to hold very tight to myself, and mostly hold it for the next bull market, and possibly do the right things from the beginning, which I didn't do this time around. I will also point out some of the problems which many of you guys might have been doing, and one of the biggest problem that I want to point out is, like, entering in FOMO, and having like very very poor entries. Okay, and poor entries are the bane of most of the trading problems, which we traders have. It's like, imagine you have cancer, and you are getting treated of cancer, but you are still smoking, right? So poor entry is something like that. So let's begin then. I hope many of you guys are here. If not, I am definitely recording this. So um, also feel free to ask any questions in between if you do not, if you if there is any problem in understanding, right? So first of all, what is the trend looks like? So we know that markets are in an uptrend, and almost Nifty and both the broader market hit an all-time high today. Possibly, yeah. So Nifty around the all-time high, and the broader market also around the all-time high, right? And um, also similarly, there are so many other indexes which are doing fine and well. So basically, safe to say that we are on an uptrend, and the momentum has also been okay. But this phase of the market is not the same as the phase we had here, right? This phase was a pure uptrend, low volatility, whereas this last 1.5 month or so has been a period wherein we had uptrends, but we also had like this very sharp falls, and that's why high volatility environment. And so many of us might not have had the great so much of a good time because of the ensuing volatility. um, and So the short term momentum looks right now all right, but see, everything is cyclical in the markets, right? So right now there is a high possibility that, see, there are two possibilities, right? Right now, right? So let me take the example of Nifty 500. One possibility is that we tried to break out today, but breakout failed miserably. And so that what might happen is we might base for some time in this like sort of sideways action and then eventually break out, or the other thing is that we might then again come down, either break down or take support in the previous support area, or the 50 DM is also coming up and then eventually break out, right? So both of these possibilities are there. We will not be able to say because markets are dynamic. It all depends on what kind of supply demand characteristics are there on Monday. Like if there's so much big money following on Monday, then who's to say that we are not going to make highs, right? But then again, who's to also say that the selling which came in the market today sometime during the day will also not so everything is cyclical is what I'm trying to say. And then the momentum is also cyclical. So if you see, I haven't released this the momentum score, but I'll release soon. But here what you see is that momentum score is an oscillator from 0 to 100. So you can see that 0 means like momentum hai nahi kuch bhi, and then 100 is like peak momentum, right? So till yesterday we had like a peak momentum, and today we are now slow down of the momentum. So if you see the whole thing, it looks like a sine wave. Not so this one. It's not very granular, and I'm yet to work on this. But in general, the point I'm trying to make is things are very cyclical, right? So and that's why um, depending on the kind of time frame you have as a trader, you always have to react to that time frame, and anticipate like what we are doing, what I am doing right now, right? So I am basically trying to picture all different possible scenarios what the market can do, and having an action in all the criteria, right? So breakout होएगा तो क्या करूँगा मैं? If the breakout comes, then I'll basically do nothing. I'll just trail my positions. If a position is not performing well, then maybe I'll cut that and enter into a performing position, right? And if it is like breaking down, then I'll basically cut out all my positions. First the swingers will go, and if it is like more bearish, then the positional entries will also go. If it goes sideways, then I'll probably just wait out that period and take here and there intraday entries just to keep the account ticking, right? So that's the basic point. Okay. um, Sectors, right? So sectors, the outperforming sectors right now is honestly no brainer. Anyone can tell you without even looking at charts, just by the movement of stocks, everyone can tell you which are the performing sectors. And the sectors that are performing well are basically, see, you have the sector rotation and relative strength dashboard. You just have to do two things. You have to go to the indices and say, okay, last 20 days mein what is the performance of the indices, right? So if I sort them by performance, I can see oil and gas 14%, Nifty PSE, CPSE 13%, PSU banks 12.78, energy, surprisingly IT also. I haven't had many of the IT names. I mean, I didn't track them, but so I was very surprised to see. But again, like again, it's just 8. But you can see that PSC, PSU banks, energy, power, these are the names which are doing really well. Renewables. I sort of don't like chartings this one, because they don't have all their classification is not very good. Like for example, we don't have something called renewables, we don't have something called railways, right? So the best way to is basically go and look at the chart, and if you just see in here, you will know what are the sectors which have been performing well. You know that private banks are shit, whereas PSU banks have been on a dream rally. Financials are also similarly dragged down. Small caps, mid caps are fire. PSC is fire. Autos have been doing well. Farmers have been also doing well, and things like that. Metals have also been like did well, and then it based, and now it's again starting to chart, right? So reality have been like fire. Although this doesn't because this is only the indices, but other reality stocks have done well. Although reality reality index in reality is actually क्या बोलते हैं उसको leader, right? So what I'm trying to say is that the stocks which are in Nifty Realty are also the ones which did really well in the realty sector, but they base for some time now. In the meantime, the other realty stocks also did well. Anyways, yeah, so don't need to be a rocket scientist to basically know which are the sectors that are doing well, and our aim should also always be to get into sectors which are doing well, because sectoral moves, when sectoral move happens, then the probability that the stock which you are holding will go up also increases, right? So that's very basic, this one. All right. So now let me talk about something I really wanted to talk, and this is something called a reverse VCP. Okay. So circling back to the index. Now, what's happened here is, in this period, the initial after this huge like bam 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 fall in late October, we had like a unidirectional rally of about 15%, 16% or so, and this rally was really clean. Like, um, if your stocks were moving, that they were sort of moving, right? And they did not stall, and they did not give up much gains during this period of time, which means that they had very less volatility. So volatility, क्या होता है? If I have to explain volatility, is basically, in if you take any short time frame, so let's say a time frame of like 1 week, uh, 1 week window, you see that what's the how much is the distance from the peak to the trough, right? So if I now calculate the volatility during this whole period, so this is the top, and the bottom was here, so about like 1%, right? So even this was a very small drawdown. So there's not much volatility. After that, uh, here what happened? The volatility increased, right? So we had a big shakeout. I mean, small shakeout, 1.09 say 1.29 आया. So volatility is slightly increased during this period, and in this period was even high volatility, 2.83. And although this was a very non-volatile pullback, very orderly pullback, the next one we've had was even higher than that. So here we almost gave back 4%. So what you see here happening is, volatility is increasing as the uptrend is going. Okay. Now, from my very limited understanding and observation of the market, I I see that this characteristics of volatility increasing even on an uptrend as well as on a base. Now, base ka example I'll show you little later, is a sign of subtle distribution. Okay, so imagine now, a very high possibility could be that, okay, even more volatility, and then even bigger uptrend, right? So this sort of phenomena could play out in the market, and if that happens, then my bias would be that, we are near the top. Okay, these are just like biases right now. Again, at the end of the day, um, the mantra is basically anticipate, but what's the confirm? You always have to confirm, and wish but only react, right? So this has been the mantra which I've been following in the last 2 months, and it has done so well for me, and I would like to hold on to that for some time. Now, some examples of reverse VCP. Okay, so again, this is not exactly reverse VCP. This is because it's an uptrend. But what happens is, when this thing happens in a base. So for example, I'm just trying to show you a base, right? So base mane kya? Base mane like price action going sideways, right? So many a times this also happens inside a base, where the volatility is actually increasing, and this is basically a peak sign of distribution, right? Now let me show you a couple of examples from the past, and also some of the examples which I happen to see in the markets right now. Okay, so one is basically the Nifty 50 index. This is basically increasing volatility. Now you see Gravita. Gravita is a stock that sort of broke down recently. Now if you see what happened in Gravita, also similar things happened. uh, from here the uptrends were really nice, and then chuck chuck, and after this, when this basing happened, if you see, like छोटा pullback, थोड़ा लंबा pullback, then again went up till the same area, then a bigger pullback. So what happened here, this is reverse VCP, right? Then again a longer one. So again, I'm not saying that Gravita is gonna do this, but whenever that happens, then be careful. Uh, there could be that this could be a sign of subtle distribution. Okay, I would not be surprised to see Gravita go here and then do BAM. Okay, and again, like if you are not already in this stock, there are so many other stocks which are doing exactly the opposite of this, which is basically forming VCP. So don't even like look at stocks like this right now. Another example, this is prior past example, Tata Elxsi before it topped last year had a classic reverse VCP action when it was already in an uptrend. So at the fag end of a big huge uptrend, this happens. So basically, Tata Elxsi mein the distribution already started somewhere here. Okay, so you see from like this was a very nice, very less volatile period. Then came another less volatile period. इसके बाद वाला जो अप ट्रेंड है आप खुद देखिए, मजाक नहीं कर रहे हैं हम, राइट? सो -17, -6, 17, 10, this was still fine, and after this you see -21, -24, -31, and eventually, like there was a trend line breakdown. Okay, so always always a good thing to sell a trend line breakdown, especially that trend line breakdown happens with a big gap, that to an earning. So these are some of the signs which right now I will not be speaking much about, because अभी downtrend और breakdown का बात बोल के I don't want to bore you guys, because right now it's stage 2 uptrend, right? So if you are still with me in HPA, there will be a time when we will only be talking about stage 3 breakdowns and stage 4s and whatnot, right? But I'm just like warming people up to this, right? So you see people say that अरे टाटा एलेक्सी में तो स्टेज 3 आया ही नहीं. स्टेज 3 क्यों चाहिए लोगों को? स्टेज 3 चाहिए बिकॉज दे वांट टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द स्टॉक. Stage distribution in Tata Elxsi already happened in the stage later part of the stage 2 uptrend. So peak, right? Another example, HDFC. HDFC का distribution देखने के लिए we have to go on a weekly time frame, right? What's happening here? On two scales, 1, 2, 3. This is basically increase in volatility as we are moving in a base. -16, -23, ये possible है और भी नीचे जा सकता है, and even if you go and say okay fine, daily में देखते हैं, let's just want to clean it up. What's happening? This is a classical reverse VCP. I mean, reverse VCP is just something I named it, but there's basically distribution in play. Huh? Huge volumes increasing, prices going sideways, and the volatility is increasing in the base. So whenever you see this action, how much ever you like the stock, if you think that price action has some sort of predicted ability, you have to little bit give it a chance, right? So you see volatility increasing, -3, -6, -9, -7, and then bam, -16. Yo, what's up, right? -19. Yeah, so this is another peak example of reverse VCP. I don't know why I have power grid. So power grid I have because here this was not very clear, but here also I had similar phenomena which I saw, and although this turned out to be no this turned out to be not like a distributory signal, but so you see even here -6%, then this was shakeout -8%. So there will also be like false signals, right? and uh, and these are the nuances which one has to pick up, like. And the other thing is also that probabilities, like not everything, and also dynamic, right? So after this, although this was like an increasing volatility as you move in here, then huge demand came and then eventually moved price, right? Similarly, I have another example which also gives you the same this one. So in this case also, there's a small, in a smaller time frame, there's a reverse VCP, right? So where is that? If you go here, if you see here, what's happening is volatility is increasing from left to right, right? And this pattern is also called megaphone. Megaphones are bearish except the ones which is pointing downwards, right? So if there is a megaphone which is pointing downwards, only that guy is sort of a bullish pattern, or else everything is bearish. So volatility कम था, increase हुआ और भी ज़्यादा increase हुआ, and mostly the bias of this kind of patterns are bearish. But again, from here things changed. Like there was a gap up, there was huge demand came here at this place, and eventually that then took the price above the supply zone, and things are okay right now. So there will be some examples where even after distribution, which is basically reverse VCP is a sign of distribution, even after reverse VCP things go up. So this kind of example you'll see in I have seen in Pricol at some point of time. There was a chemical stock, agrochem stock, वहाँ पे भी देखा है. So I also added this example just to show you the nuance that, hey, stock market is volatile. So many people will uh, that's why I because I don't know how to read fundamentals. Maybe fundamental is a is a good way to forecast long term earnings or performance of a stock, but technicals do change with every bar, right? So my idea or my reading of that particular instrument will change with every new uh, 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 candle that has been put, right? So that was reverse VCP, guys. And yeah, look. Oh, okay. Another example I had was IEX, right? So what happened in IEX was IEX sort of failed here. I mean, the one horizontal line gang will put a horizontal line here like this and say, hey, breakout, hey, right? But if you look closely, these the apparently this is a stage one base, right? Why stage one base? Because if you see this this is this is at the middle of a huge longer term downtrend, which already has pushed had pushed the stock up till minus 62%, right? So stage 2, then small stage 3, stage 4, and then the expectation was that this is a stage 4, and I mean, sorry, stage 1 base, and then we had a breakout here on this week. uh, but this failed miserably, right? So I would have never ever traded this, and you know the answer, right? You know the answer. Why? Because the volatility in the stage 1 base has been increasing as we go from left to right. What does this mean? And you see the volume pattern. Huge selling is still available in IEX, right? So unless and until it shows me a VCP characteristic, which basically is, let's say, okay, fine, I came till here, and then the volatility is decreasing, and instead of the red bars, the volumes is increasing, but the we also have like green bars and very less red bars, and then I will say I'll probably think about it, right? So here's another example, and it can occur everywhere. This might be another stage 3 base. I mean, sorry, a stage 3 continuation base, right? So just like we have stage 2 continuation bases, which is prime example might be Reliance right now. So what's happening in Reliance is that, okay, we've had a stage 2, and then mostly the idea was, okay, this big base, which also has a slanting, I mean, positive slope. ये क्या था मतलब ना, like this if this breaks out and continues its uptrend, which was this would be a stage 2 continuation base, right? um, Definitely there were distributory signals here. So for example, this was hugely distributed even here, even here with this volumes, red volumes here. But eventually what happens, like I said, markets are dynamic, right? यहाँ पे यहाँ पे आया सब demand, even here huge demand, and eventually stock is like now sort of pushing above this sort of sideways base, right? So couple of things I from a price action point of view, I want you guys to take away is reverse VCP, that is increasing in volatility even on an uptrend, and definitely in the base is a telltale sign of distribution. And just like everything else, the 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 markets are dynamic, and so just because there's distribution in a base doesn't mean that it will break down. And that's why always I use this mantra: anticipate but confirm, right? And yeah, that's the key takeaway. Now let's move to maybe more important stuff. I'd like to do now is uh, discuss some of the top names, discuss a couple of my holdings and what I anticipate in them, and how I uh, am trying to play them out. And then at last I'll discuss a couple of problems, right? So let's go to my sort of watch list. Again, this is not a exhaustive list, okay? इससे बढ़िया बढ़िया चीज़ मिलेगा आप लोगों को मार्केट में, but again the thing is, no, we don't have to look at all the names, like 50 बड़े बड़े बढ़िया बढ़िया स्टॉक्स को वॉच लिस्ट में रख के कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है, राइट? सो some of them, couple of them, handful of them, but make sure that you catch them at the right place at the right time, and make sure that all of them are from a good sector. So good sector right now is what? PSU, um, any PSU, honestly, any PSU, possibly energy, renewables, power, uh, what's that other one? Reality, right? So these are the peak names. So so numero uno in the list is BDL, and today BDL had a cheat breakout. It also sort of at some point of time had a O'Neill pivot breakout here, but it faded, right? But one thing is very clear, that BDL is itching to break out. Now let's say I entered today, uh, and my stop loss would be this. If it convincingly breaks down below this, I will probably scale out, right? But even if it doesn't break out, so sorry, even if it doesn't break down, so what is the visualization? What's the anticipation I have? Like, the anticipation is basically, what is this? This is 2T VCP right now. This is T1, T2. Although the contractions are not how we would like it, which is basically at least 40 to 60% from the previous contraction. At max, I believe this guy will do something like this, and then eventually break out. And this could be tomorrow, day after, uh, like, but the best thing would be if this thing comes within next next 10 to 11 bars, right? Sometimes what happens is that even if it doesn't come, it'll go down, shake out, and then move up, right? So we've so many examples. Ayo, we have so many examples of things like this, that shake out mara, and then it has eventually moved out. Does anyone remember a particularly close example which happened like this? Shake out and boom. No? Anyone? Let's see MCX. Yes, BSC brother. Who's that? Yes, Rahul. I was looking for that answer, and BSC did something like that, and also MCX also did something like that, right? So let's say right now we are here in BDL, and then we might have a small shakeout, and then eventually this guy moves. So these are some characteristics of very strong stocks which big money wants to acquire, right? मतलब if nobody is if nobody is like giving up their shares, they will थोड़ा डरा देंगे retail को, right? So MCX is one. BSC also happened something like that. Yeah, peak shakeout. uh, peak shakeout this day, and even this day, like ये people who had SL below here तो shakeout हुआ and people who had deeper SL उनको भी shakeout की जाए, right? And after that see what happened, right? So always be wary of those kind of situations happening. And I'm very what is the word, I am very confident about this guy. And also see Mars confirmation is also very near, and I believe that will come. Another name I am watching closely is VLEGOVNIT Solutions Limited. And uh, by now, I don't have to describe what I like here. I like the true pole, I like the highest volume ever, I like the Khela Hobe, and then when it is basing, I like the VCP pattern, right? So VCP is very, very clear, very evident here. First T minus 20%, then um, similar, but now it's like getting tighter. This T was chota, and this T is also very chota, and this is a clear pivot. Right now we have. The only problem might be some people don't like the 5% circuit, but I don't care now. I've had so much experience with these 5% circuiters that my although at some point of time I was also very skeptical, but then but then I saw that almost all stocks which move, which are the super performers, right? इन सभी में सर्किट लगा ही देते हैं, तो फायदा ही क्या है देन, लाइक नो पॉइंट ऑफ लाइक and the thing is, it's not like you have the whole portfolio in one or two stocks. You have like 10, 20, 15% max, right? So another name I am looking, and I don't know like if I will ever trade this somehow, since I was never so much interested in Adani names, they don't entice me much. But this is such a great structure, almost I think a high tide flag, in fact a high tide flag, not almost. So you have like a 100% up move, and then the this is less than 20%, this is T1. Then you have a T2 which is less than minus almost like similar to what we need. So 17.5% का half होगा some 8 point some, but this is about 60% of that. And now the last T, 1 2 3 4 4 days of very tight consolidation. In fact, 1 2 3 4 5 days of very tight consolidation. So now imagine if you can enter here at the correct point. So correct point क्या होगा? Let's say 560 580.9. So 581 82 पे अगर आप घुस गए हो, let's say 584 पे घुस गए हो, right? So the kind of stop loss you will have is like very tight, like minus 6% in a stock that has a ATR of 3.6, which means दिन में वो अगर 3-4% भाग जाएगा, तो उस पर 6% is okay in my opinion, right? And since it's also a high tide flag, the 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 kind of up move you will have will also be similar to the length of the yeah. Although this is not a true pole, but ठीक है. Another name which I am closely observing is Inox Green. Um, wow, like because I have this kida of entering early and um, what's the word? Being clever. I every day I see this, I want to like anticipate and enter, anticipate and enter. But while going through my trade list of last couple of months, all I see is that the biggest losers I have had were the names where I became clever and anticipated, right? So as much as I'm trying to not anticipate and enter as much as possible, but this is such a great name. Like it is, yeah, it's very beautiful, and yeah, this is also something to keep in. Max India, Max India is a peak high tide flag, peak pole, true pole, huge volumes. Started with a Khela Hobe, orderly pullback, no volumes at all. The first big bullish candle, that's gonna be the entry. Hindustan Copper इसका निकल गया entry point, but just kept all of this because I want to I want to emphasize on one point, okay, um, which I've also probably already told you that the biggest problem of the the most of the trading problems you are facing, or which I am facing, I have faced, comes from entering in the wrong places, and that's a that's a sign of FOMO, and it's not a fear, it's greed, right? FOMO, fear of missing out, is not a fear, it's a greed. It's it's the emotion of greed showing up in some other forms, right? And so let's say Hindustan Copper अगर इस दिन miss हो गया, next दिन you could have also entered here also, but like the today also possibly one could have entered, right? But the more further your entry becomes, the 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 logical stop loss becomes deeper and deeper. So had I entered here, logical stop loss, okay, maybe this pivot like 21 day, right? Because बढ़िया से 21 days respecting, respect करके आ रहा है, तो 21 day respect किया, right? So um, now now the more the number of days after you enter, your logical stop loss becomes bigger and bigger. So let's say if you enter today and the stock does something like this, okay, is if it does this, is it a bad sign of the stock? It's not, it's just a healthy pullback. I mean, stocks do this all the time. But what will happen is, in your account you will see Hindustan Copper minus 9.8%. भाई अब क्या करें इसका, बेच दे, right? So all of these uh, all of these problems will not be there, first of all, if you enter at the right place and put the right stop loss, right? Similarly, MCX also, the best day to enter MCX was, can anyone tell me what was the best day to enter MCX from the chart? Yes, 29 Jan was your perfect entry. You could have entered as soon as it opened, because that also took out the cheat entry. You could have entered after around the closing also, because that was the clean O'Neill pivot breakout, right? उसके बाद if you enter today, maybe MCX is going on a parabolic run, maybe, but there is a small possibility that tomorrow it will make you happy, oh 5%, and then bam, you know, uh, and a pullback of minus 11%. Now, had you entered here, you would have been fine, because ठीक है, चलो -3 दिखा रहा है, it's okay, it's a natural thing for breakouts to pull back. But if you enter here or today, like at the end, then it will create a mental problem for you to have something which is minus 11%, right? So how do you not have this problem? By not entering here, right? NICL is, in my opinion, a really good flag. High tide flag, great, everything is great, and right now it's a 3T VCP. So T1, this was the second T, and now it's possibly at the end of the third T, and we are going to see the breakout soon. And this anticipation I made, it was on this day कि ठीक है भाई साहब, अगर आज if on this day it doesn't break out, at max I want to have a, I mean, the best thing for the stock to do would be to have another third contraction. The third contraction should not be more than the second contraction, possibly better if it is 50. And it exactly next day came there, and now sort of going up, right? Uh, I have already made entries, a premature entry on this day, and some other entries on this day and this day. So I already have like some, I think 5 to 6% cushion, and this is one of my biggest position now. And if I'm true to my system, I will add more here. If I'm true to my system, I'll add more there, right? And so this is also a very nice high tide flag still. Spencer was a great high tide flag. chuk, and then the mast formed this is a this is a this is also called pennant. Pennant में basically क्या होता है कि ये the volatility decreases, and this decreasing volatility is also again a great sign. And so the perfect entry would have been this day, because it also took out the the the, the high pivot high. And then right now what happened, O'Neill pivot के बाद, then today I think this is after post result LC, right? So had you entered on this day, like on the closing of this day also, you would still have been 7% up. But if you'd enter yesterday in a FOMO, you would have been minus 10%, right? So again, embrace the fact that how much ever study you do, how much ever perfect your setup is, be it technical or fundamental, there's always a possibility that the squat the stock will squat hug dega, right? So that possibility is always there. um, I just want everyone to embrace probabilities, okay? That's my point. Banca was a great high tide flag here, and this would have been an entry. This would also have been an entry, but when you see that it's a red squat, you should have gotten out here, right? Sometimes this very small market cap names are very difficult to trade also. I read a 2 weeks back, I think on this day or this day, I wrote a I wrote an article to my paid readers, top five high tide flags in the Indian markets today, and this was number one. And see what has happened after that, right? So entering on the best day, which is probably here or here or here, not here, not here, right? This is your FOMO. It's okay if you miss one. You will have like 10, 20 every day. Like this one, Gallant yesterday. If anyone remembers my message in the announcement group, clearly pointed out that this is the perfect entry. Now what you have to do is you have to start building that conviction. You have to start building that trust. When you see a good setup on the perfect entry, you have to start building that conviction. एक दिन में नहीं आएगा, of course. एक bull market में भी probably नहीं आ सकता है. But this is entering this day will be your best friend going forward. Okay, I just want to make this crystal clear to everyone. FFS, fine if you missed entries on these days. A strong stock will always give you another clear and big opportunity, and that is in the form of a high tide flag. Oracle Financial Services is going to give you that opportunity very soon. That opportunity, in my opinion, is the break of today's high. Okay, and I would also put this on the watch list. Now GMDC at some point of time was a high tide flag. Last time when we were doing the 25 high HTF with Homma, the this day was an entry. This day was an entry. Why? Because I mean, forget that this thing existed, and if you see then this although this looks like a jacked flag, but this still is a true pole, and then around 25% deep this one, and then if you play this, boom. Right now what's happening is there's a cheat handle getting formed, a very tight area which is not at the O'Neill pivot but at the second middle part of the base, and then bam, this is your perfect entry, right? And I think I also entered on this day, on during that exercise. But what happens is sometimes they fail, and this is the probabilistic nature of the market. Doesn't matter how much ever GMDC you've studied and how much ever price action you've studied, like after this point इसके ऊपर फिर डिमांड नहीं आया तो प्राइस नहीं जाएगा ना ऊपर. If there are people who needed money, and they were holding GMDC, they had to sell, price नहीं जाएगा ऊपर, right? So the basic of everything there's demand and supply. And once we got pivot 1, sort of pivot 2, then we had a third pivot, price rejection. And then instead of यहाँ पे जो हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन बनाना शुरू किया था मैं, वो मेरा लाइन अभी ऐसा हो गया, बिकॉज दिस इज द ट्रू स्लोप ऑफ supply, right? And what happens is high tide flag, if they don't break out immediately, becomes a IHTF. ये just a fancy name, Indian high tide flag बुलाते हैं हम लोग उसको. Mast becomes a little bigger, but GMDC is still a good setup right now. But slowly, when this happens, the 50-day 50-day relative strength becomes going below zero, then थोड़ा time लेता है. This is what I've observed. And then similarly it took some time, and then again, so this was the breakout of the actual line of resistance, right? Because the resistance itself is sloping up. And in my opinion, okay, this again faded, then it again put a very nice consolidation, and it is ready to break out again. And if you've seen some of the names after this extended basing period, the next move is like really khatarnak. But there's so many names. Maybe IFCI is one. You've seen an extended basing period, and then you see a parabolic move. And similarly, I remember I also added, this was also a high tide flag which I traded, and I added on this day, thought because this was a cheat entry or breakout, but it didn't break out. And then I sort of I got bored because itna lamba mere ko wo kiya, so uh, I sold somewhere here. But since now we know that that there's this sort of pattern appearing, we know that the GMDC is also very similar, and आएगा उस पे भी. And there are so many other, I think ITI, so many other examples. So ITI is also like this. See, there is a parabolic move somewhere here for sure, right? So these are some of the names I've been looking, and I'm yet to go through my weekend routine of going through my scanners and stuff like that. If I get some more good names, then I'll add to this list, and I'll share the list if this is not already shared. This is not shared. Um, yeah, I'll put this later. Okay. All right. Still have 10 minutes left. I'll take some example. I'll take some questions. I thought of discussing my PF, and I've been doing really good. Um, like when at the beginning of 2024, when I thought like, okay, what is the percentage if I make in the entire PF that I'll be happy about? And I had a certain figure, and that certain figure is already reached in in a month or so. So and what I did well during this period was to uh, stick with the stocks which are moving up and not micromanage them, right? So Cupid entered here, got 100% return, and I sold half on this day. And if this guy breaks out, I'll try to again enter. Might not break out because results were apparently not very superb and all. NICL, I think I think these are two levels which it can hit, and I'll try my level best to not fiddle fuck anything in this trade and hold them for this kind of return. IRM Energy, this was a IPO based breakout. This was my entry exactly on this green line, 503.8. Went up, came back, didn't do anything. Waited for it to set up again and entered here, and then I'm on decent gain here also. IRM Energy is now one of my biggest position, along with NICL. Alberta, this was the entry on on Khelawe day. Went up. I sold 50% here. That's de-risking, and that's why when it came down till here, although it was like very close to my entry price, I was like, fine, aa jao, stop loss le lo. You, this is already a profitable trade for me, right? And that's why I also could hold on to this trade because of my some of the sound principles I have now inculcated in my trading, and this also done really well. This is also setting up as a sort of a very good flag, although not a high tide flag. Central Bank of India, I entered somewhere here anticipating that this is a tightness range contraction, and soon after that, Khelawe appeared, and it's also doing really well. BSE was an anticipation entry. You see, whenever I anticipate, things go south. So I will not anticipate on a bull market is what I am thinking. Sometimes it's very difficult to not try to be clever. Swan Energy entry was somewhere here. I think probably on this day, and this was also, yeah. And I've just let it go. Like I've just let it go. I won't do anything to you. Just go, right? That has been my system. JP JP is also doing well. This was an anticipation entry which probably worked. Not anticipation, but like cheat entry. Either entered here or somewhere here, and then again letting it go, like just go until and unless I don't see the relative strength going down. Wari has been my biggest guy. So I entered first here on the Khelawe candle, and then Khelawe I entered, and then it went up, went down, and then on this day, this is a Khelawe entry, and this is a pullback confirmation PVC entry, right? So pullback, and this is a confirmed reversal from the 50 DMA. That was the second entry, and just let it go. Um, yeah, about this, not 200 right now. IRIDA, just let it go. IRFC, just let it go. Multiple entries, I think somewhere here down the line, and then went up in this time period. Just it's respecting the key moving averages. Just don't do anything. Still now, you know. Um, Similarly, Railtail also entered. I think somewhere here, somewhere. Not sure where I entered. I think I entered here. Yeah, this was a O'Neill based breakout. This was a very nice positional entry. I think I also uh, did a commentary why this is a very nice O'Neill based breakout entry. So after that, never touch my buy price. Uh, Ircon was an entry on this day, and then OFFS came sometime. Oh no, OFS came here. This was the entry. Then I was some 8 to 10% up. Then OFSS came, that thing, and then I'm not doing anything here also. BDL fresh entry today. Protein fresh entry today, right? So I would like to follow the same principles going forward. Um, the idea is to catch strong stocks, catch strong stocks in the perfect entry point, and ride as long as the uptrend is there, right? Um, yeah, anticipate but confirm, wish but react. Markets are volatile right now. Volatility is is a feature of stage 3 distribution, but we won't do anything unless we see fall in our stocks, right? Okay, that's where I am going to end now. I will take any questions you guys might have. Sure. Let me GMR. GMR. Okay. So let's start with Olectra then. Okay. Right. So again, very sad to not personally get into Electra because honestly, this was one hell of a trade for me. Bought here, sold here, almost at the top, and then this would have been a great day to enter. And the fresh entries were provided day before yesterday, which is on this day. Uh, but again, now although this day squatted, this the upper weeks near a resistance is a is not a bug, right? It's a, oh, how's the saying? It's a feature and not a bug, right? So fine, you were on the wrong side of the probability if you entered on this day. But even if you'd entered on the top for a swing trade, you were not down for more than 6%, right? So I would still hold this trade, and my bias is positive in the sense like my bias is still that it is gonna go up. What could happen is before it goes up, there might be another contraction. Might be, okay, might. And this contraction, as long as it is less than this guy, first guy, is okay in my opinion. So yeah, looks good. And also you can see that this from sort of a renewable space and also auto plus renewable kind of a thing should do well in my opinion. um, GMR. So Samira, this GMR is GMR Infra. You want me to check GMR Infra? Um, yes. Okay. So let's look at GMR Infra. So GMR Infra was a big base breakout, right? This was the base. Um, until this point, we could have called, oh, it's a downtrending base, and broke down but shake out and then came, and this was the day which you could have entered, and the entry would have been look like a DTL base breakout. DTL base breakout के बाद it went sideways, and there was another entry for us, that was the O'Neill pivot breakout, right? O'Neill pivot breakout with highest volumes ever. What does that tell you? It tells you that this is like big guys getting in, and went up, down. थोड़ा सा volatility ज़्यादा आया है, but apparently results also good, because results के बाद the stock has done well. um, my entry would be above this pivot, so looks good, very strong stock. Relative strength also just now after a sort of a normal patch is now again starting to come back, so this is a very good stock in my opinion. Once a HTF is formed and breakout happens, what's percentage of stocks re-enter the base? If the percentage is less, can we simply relax the SL? So couple of questions here. I do not know what percent of stocks re-enter the base, but what I would think is that in a during a if it is a bull market, very less percentage would re-enter the base, right? In any case, my stop loss would be a relaxed stop loss uh, in 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 uh, in a bull market, because this is my way of thinking and many people might also disagree here. See, because I know that general direction of the market in a bull market is only going to go up, right? But I also know that in many cases um, they shake us out and then go up, right? So I would play the the probability that okay, anyways, this guy even today or tomorrow is gonna go up only, so I will have a relaxed SL. Relaxed SL ऐसा नहीं कि -40% डाल रहा हूँ, like let's say -10%, right? But I would still make sure that it's like under some structural pivot, and ऐसा नहीं कि एवी मतलब, so yes, I would definitely try to have a relaxed SL. This kind of trading is not the same as the tightness traders, like people like the peak swing traders and things like um, what is the name, Hiren Gabani, those guys, Manas Arora, those guys, they size big, they use very strong small SL, and that's and then they repeat the process. So that's not the style, but this is like little relaxed, right, right stock selection, and right entry. You would still have a decently small stop loss, TFCI, and okay, that's it. Neha says Neha wants to see TFCI and MNTNL, MTNL, TFCI. Yeah, so Tourism FinCorp is another really good stock, and I would have entered here. Uh, I will, and then I would have entered here because that's the cheat pivot, or simply when the stock was going out on this day here. Right now it's little extended from where I would like. Not to say that Tourism FinCorp will not go up and hit 300, 400, whatever. But generally, my style is to enter a big base breakout or a high tide flag base breakout, which right now is not there, right? So it's a little extended entry for me, but very strong stock. MTNL. Same thing. This is a big base, big base. Uh, Fucking hell, man. Yeah. So if you see monthly, let's say, um, you see what's happening here. This is this is not you and me. This is big money, right? And where was the pivot? The pivot was this: lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. This candle took out the previous lower high, so we had a higher high, but still यहाँ पे आके resistance, then higher low, higher low, then a breakout, right? So for positional traders, MTNL right now offers a lucrative entry, um, but since this is already at the end of a daily momentum move, which means like generally a momentum like starts and persists for 3 to 8 days. What I would expect is immediately there will be basing. This is what I expect, and after this base is formed, that breakout can be entered as a swing trader. As a positional trader, आपको ज़्यादा कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. Even if you enter today, um, and if you have to wait for a couple of days before it eventually moves up, um, that's a good entry in my opinion, right? Okay, so this was weekly. Sorry. हाँ, तो you see what's happening in daily breakout. This is the breakout day, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of upwards momentum. Then pullback one, pullback two, right? So a pullback PB PVC entry will be open. When will it be open? I don't know. Breakout entries above this high. All right. How are we doing with time? We are 5 minutes extended. V2 Retail, IRB, Tata Power, IOC, Subex, IIO. So so I will check till Castrol and then I'll stop. Okay. V2 Retail. Uh, I caught a very bad cold at home. So V2 Retail is also looking good. Um, it's now basing, and the base now is beginning to show some VCP characteristics, right? Um, IRB Tata Power, IRB, IRB infrastructure. Yeah, so and so yeah, so GMDC is somewhere here, I suppose, and you see the kind of huge up move. IRB infrastructure is potentially now shaping up as a high tide flag. Has a pole which is 100% in last 5 to 8 weeks, and yeah, we'll wait for a very nice flag formation. I mean, sorry, mass formation, and then we can trade that. But right now, I don't think there's any entry. Tata Power. Tata Power looks good. It's also a high tide flag. Oh, the high tide flag broke out. Yeah. So this was the pole, and the pole itself was a big base breakout. So this was a entry, cheat entry. This was a O'Neill base breakout on this day. This day the clip किया, फिर next day jump किया. That would also have been an entry, and then it formed a high tide flag. I mean, sorry, it's not a high tide flag. It's just 50%. But you can see that this was another entry, and it's again on the up move. So generally, I don't trade these. Uh, Not to say that, but again, in daily time frame also is extended. Uh, my advice would be to not trade this right now. If you want to trade something which has power at the back, Adani Power looks good for now. Um, IOC, IOC, Indian Oil Corporation. Ayyo. Yeah. So remember when I said all reverse VCPs are bad except for those that are pointing downwards. So this is one example. Um, the reverse VCP, the megaphones which are pointing downwards are actually bullish. So this was a breakout, two tandem khela hobe, and why not this khela hobe, but this khela hobe? Who can answer this? Can anyone please answer this? Why we should not have taken these two and taken these two? Can anyone please answer this? Please. Who's this? Hi Rahul. I am so happy. Yeah. Right. So we would not have taken these trades because you see there is no relative strength here. Right. And we should have taken these two because Mars just turned positive. Right. Always remember, highest relative strength is not important. Increasing relative strength is important. Highest relative strength कौन show करता है, which is already given you 500% and is already sitting at the top. Hey, look at me, इतना percentage आया मेरा. But no, उस पर घुस के फ़ायदा नहीं है bro. You should enter things which have just started to move, right? And so IOC, amazing. There is no entry for me right now. Possibly an entry could have been today, but I mean, this is very risky entry, right? Like, um, okay, one can say that, hey, this is a 100% move, and then there is a base में थोड़ा सा VCP, and then this is a HTF breakout. No, this is not a very good HTF breakout because the base in the HTF for a good one has to be at least 10 days old. थोड़ा सा time spend करना आता है. So this is just continuation of the uptrend. This is actually just the continuation of the uptrend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, HHHL, 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 HHHL. There is no entry here, right? I mean, yes, you could have entered here, you could have entered here, like that. So, not sure like or kitna jayega, right? So, if you are really, really interested to get in here, you should wait for it to at least have a decent base and then attack again. Um, iOS, hi, hello, hi Nimish. हाँ, अच्छा, देखते हैं. Where is it? Here? Are you talking about this one? uh, is your chart does your chart have dividends? So you have to adjust for dividends. That's the true picture, no? So you have to ADJ. Okay, so always use the dividend adjusted chart because that will give you a true picture. And also, if I see the long term chart, looks like at the yeah. So the monthly breakout actually has was somewhere here, like when the move from the big base started. mm, Here only, no? यहीं पे. So right now it's a little extended for me. I wouldn't advise anyone to get in right now. Yes, yes, yes. So if you use adjusted here, it will be for every chart. It will get adjusted. Yeah, yeah. You're welcome. Okay. So next one is Religare Subex. Okay, let's hurry. Religare. Excuse me. So how does Religare look like? Religare looks to me decent, like people who trade the Weinstein style of trading, like you know, uh, yeah. I mean, there is an entry here, and that entry was on this day when it took this one. Also looks like this is the highest volume ever, so someone likes this, right? Uh, this also looks like it could turn out to be a big O'Neill base, and so in that case, this was your लो चिट पिवट. आपका चिट पिवट आएगा बाद में आ सकता है इज़ व्हाट आई एम सेइंग यहाँ पे. एंड देन this is the main. So yeah, looks good. Castrol. um, so Castrol had a entry today, looks like, but it faded out. Now generally what happens when this happens, there is what the stock does is, this is very early anticipation, okay, but what the stock does is something like this. It then goes on a ascending this one. So one of the peak example of this is Swan Energy, right? So let's say may not be the greatest chart to show the example, but okay. Uh, what else? Mm, IFCI. Yeah. So what happens is, like, okay, let's say this was the breakout and then it didn't follow through. Um, then what happens is the chart then goes and takes the shape of a ascending sort of a channel, right? And yeah, this was a BOB breakout. So generally what this is actually it's a base only, but base has a positive slope, which means that this guy is very strong, okay. So similar thing might happen in Castrol. CASTRROL. So if it doesn't break out even right now, it might then take the form of this nascent, like a very small positively slope base. Then eventually the breakout comes, right? So these are all signs of strong stocks only. यहाँ पे distribution ज़्यादा नहीं है, so it's a very good stock. This is not so much selling. Selling is also in very low volumes, right? So it's a very good stock. Subex, West Coast paper. Subexa, big base breakout. Subex is a big base breakout. Oh, it looks like an inverse head and shoulder. And yeah, sometimes what happens is that when a stock is just starting to outperform, थोड़ा सा ये एरिया थोड़ा स्लो हो जाता है, yeah, so that's the only thing I'll tell, but looks good in the sense, uh, the entry point is very near. Suvex, and what we had, monthly should be lesser in daily. Thank you. Mars DTL is downtrend line, Mac. Mars is the indicator which we are using. Moving average relative strength. This is an indicator by our dear friend finally Nitin, and it's a freely available one on the, if you search here, Mars, and not this, Mars by finally Nitin. GMDC is what we had last one. Uh, where is it? Oh, MMTC. Sorry, MMTC. Oh, is this MMTC? Wow, what a chart. I generally do not like these charts because it has too much volatility. Okay, this was fine, and then this breakout was a base breakout, and then we had an up move, and then something happened here. Also, it has a very less float. Although this shows 10%, I think it's less than 10%, and so the actual number of shares which are in the market is less. And then we had another entry, um, and you can see that if one just follows the Homma Khilawe entries, you are bound to get really good entries, okay? And that's how the whole indicator has been developed, using all of these learnings and characteristics in mind, right? So this is this is a very good indicator in my opinion. Instead of like entering now here, you could have, one can easily could have entered somewhere here. So I do not like this chart right now, a, because it's at the resistance. Even if it breaks the resistance, I am not comfortable entering because it's already at the end, or not at a far end of a long uptrend, right? Okay, so I'm not uh, मेरे को I'm not comfortable entering here. At when will I be comfortable? Let's say it puts a handle here like this, right? And if it then breaks out of this area, which has some VCP characteristics, volumes look good, and when there is a volume wala base breakout, at that time I'll be very happy to enter. Not now. Okay, this is the last chart we'll discuss today. Um, yeah, so again, like, this is a common phenomena, right? Enter when the base breakout is happening. Could be here, could be here, could be this small base breakout, could be this small base breakout. I mean, the tight area breakout. Right now, it's very dicey for me, at least, to say that, this will go. But an entry will open if there is a breakout of this zone, uh, with a nice candle, nice bullish candle. This is still tradable in my opinion, but again, there are so many better names available than JSW. Ayyo, JSW energy, not infra. Yeah, oh, JSW infra. Another, so JSW infra is a good entry today. Now, it might not have turned green in the relative strength, but I would, if you put a gun on my kanpatti, say that bhai le le, then I would have taken it, because this has done a lot of good things. What it has done is that it has broken out of this previous high. So again, this higher high higher low structure can be applied everywhere. Okay, why can it be applied here? Because this is also derived from price only. So this is also a derivative of price only. So price में work करेगा तो इधर भी work करेगा, right? So lower high, then it's a breakout of the lower high. So it's very soon going to go to the positive territory. And price action wise also, this is a cheat pivot, right? So this is the pivot high, pivot high, pivot high, दो pivot high का लंबा एक खींचा line horizontal, and today's this one broke out now. uh, थोड़ा सा लंबा वो हो जाएगा, like 10% is still okay in my opinion. Stop loss 10% size with 10% stop loss still gives you 1% risk to the portfolio, right? So it's a very good entry today in my opinion, positional. uh, okay guys, I'll stop here. Difference between Kelaube candle and blue candle. Blue candle is a candle that क्या होता है उसको, ah, I forgot the name of the candle. I'm just zoned out right now. This is called what is it? Pocket pivot. Sorry, yeah. So yes, pocket pivot. So it's a pocket pivot. So pocket pivot is basically any price candle which is the which is the highest volume. Any bullish candle, price candle, on a volume which is the highest in the last 10 days. Okay, so that'll be blue, and that also shows strength basically. Last one was West Coast paper. Sorry to miss this. WSTCST, West Coast paper. West Coast paper, West Coast paper. All right, so I like West Coast paper. West Coast paper is right now uh, basing, and the resistance of the base one can draw in like this. Okay, so the zone of supply is not horizontal. Okay, so this is what I see from here, and one could also visualize this as a flat base with a slope, right? Flat base is generally like this, but flat base with a slope, right? um, uh, Something like this. And in my opinion, then if that's the case, then the actual breakout will come somewhere here. Okay, all right guys, I will stop the recording for now.